Greetings, folks. This is vk3sl. Welcome to the afternoon session. That was the music of Paul Hindemith to kick off today. It was his Kammer music number 7. We heard the last movement there. A work written for radio, written for the Frankfurt radio station. I can't remember the name of that station, but back in 1928. So early days, and it was premiered by them. So that's all rather significant. 1st of August 28 says here. It was first heard on the radio. So there we go, the Kammer music of Paul Hindemith. We did feature the music of Hindemith last night, and we had a variety of Hindemith Kammer music excerpts. There's about, I think there is about eight or nine Kammer musics, chamber music pastiches, and they are all written for unusual instrumental combinations. That's a chamber group with organ in that instance. Organ had a strong role. Anyhow, we're sort of slowly sharpening up the gramophone needle, getting organised here, and we'll kick off, as we always do, with something from the 20s, another Bon Marche record. These are records released by the Payne's Drapers in Burke Street. Payne's stores, there's some interesting photos of Payne's stores. I did some research on this, but they have their own paste-over labels. Payne's Bon Marche, and they're actually imperial recordings made in Britain with American masters. It says on the label here, Mr. what does it say? I think it says Paul Rogers, which of course is a pseudonym. The actual band is Fred Rich, according to the discography. So we'll hear Fred Rich and his orchestra, and a performance of a big hit in 1927. My Blue Heaven. Pretty Rich and the orchestra there. And I just realised that 2 metres is, I've got an intermittent connection there. I gave it a wiggle and it should be open now. So if anyone wants to come up on 2, you are welcome. And also I think we've got everything else in operational mode now.
And you didn't come on UHF till just then.
Yes, I realised that. That was the other thing. I forgot to switch on UHF.
I'll give you a call. Look, it could be just because it's been raining and very wet, but your signal strength is definitely up here on various indicators.
Okay.
About an S point or something. It's quite a significant increase, so I don't know. Take a look at the readings and mark them down and just see what happens.
Okay.
Use as a reference or something.
Indeed. I don't know. Everything looks the same. All the tuning parameters look the same. There's nothing sort of obviously different, but maybe the antenna is sort of more efficient for whatever reason. Maybe earthing, or there's been a I don't know, some anomaly that's causing things to work a little bit more efficiently.
Is. So I don't know if Frank is around, he can tell the difference or not. But
yes,
certainly
indeed.
Here on the wideband receiver it's less noisy, and
okay.
Said it's more strength S meters on the other portable receiver in the backyard, which is not connected to anything. So it seems conclusive, but who knows?
Who knows? Well, it's the third time that it's happened in succession, so I suppose that's significant, and we can just hope that it remains. I've definitely taken notes of readings on everything. So, but look, everything does look the same in terms of the tune-up procedure. I think it's just maybe it's something to do with the rain. Who knows? There could be any number of contributing factors.
If the ground between you and me is still wet, it could improve the conductivity, and maybe that's the case.
Maybe it is.
Of course, those dry, hot days, it's pretty bad for 160.
Yeah, it is. I noticed that. Yeah, so, it's good to know. I haven't checked on the SDR if it's a notable difference, but maybe it's evident there as well. So good stuff.
Good afternoon.
Right. And hello to you, Frank. Sorry, I didn't have 2 metres open before. There was a couple of little problems on startup today.
No, that's fine.
I forgot to switch on UHF as well.
It's fine. I'm probably not going to hang around for too much.
Yep.
I've had a last-minute invitation to go to a jazz thing on tonight.
Terrific. Oh, that sounds good.
At the Jazz Lab.
Oh, very good.
Kathy's just come in, so I need to drop off.
Yeah. Find out what's going on.
I'll come back.
Yeah, that's fine, Frank. No worries. Sounds most excellent. Yeah, going to see live music's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
I won't. I'll listen, but I'm working on stuff here.
Yeah, sure.
But
right.
that site of the of Rare 78 is quite interesting.
Oh, it is interesting. It's an enormous resource.
What was the brand, the one that you had that you had on the wall and you played?
Oh, yeah, that's ERA. ERA.
I'll have a look at it. Has it got a picture of that?
Yeah, yes, there is the pictures on the site. If anyone wants to look it up, it's just UK 78, so I can refer you to it. Let me see. I think I've still got the thing open here. Yeah, it's early 78s. .uk, and there's this remarkable resource looking at rare labels that were extant before the First World War, and it's just unbelievable how many labels there were, and they've got photographs of them and then details about these boutique companies. Some of them were companies in their own right, others were just resourcing stock from other enterprises.
It seems like in the early days, like every technology, everyone was into it. Then you had the disruption of the war. When it came back, the big companies sort of took over, and that was it. But the good thing is there's a whole range of music that wasn't, a totally different playlist that you'd get on the major labels, which is great, isn't it? Yeah. And the fact that they're still around, millions of them there.
Yeah,
it's just incredible.
It is.
And the quality's just as good or better than the other labels.
Yeah, look, it's fascinating. And a lot of second-tier artists or people who never otherwise would have had a Guernsey have recorded on some of these smaller labels. So you hear some of the provincial bands playing and artists who are completely forgotten to history. And there's quite a lot of research. In fact, a number of these companies were very active in India in the very early days, and that's another incredible story because the market there opened up very early.
Yes. India is an amazing country. I think it's going to be a world power soon.
Oh yeah, definitely, and just incredible history. Their ethnic music was embraced early on, and the gramophone had a strong presence as early as 1902 when Geisberg went over. And it just took off like wildfire, and they made hundreds of recordings within a breath, within an instant.
We've heard some of them, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We played a few of them, and I'd like to sort of discover more, because I realised that that record I played yesterday, that Nicole record, Nicole's another very obscure label, but which were very active as an independent label in the very early days of the century, up until about 1905, I think was when the company closed. But they were in India, and they made hundreds of recordings in India, and on these cardboard records. Now, collectors go crazy over them, but the good news is that a lot of that material is now in the public domain. It's sort of held in special archives and things, but it can be accessed, and it's acquired taste. But it's very provincial, and it's a window into another ethnicity and in an aesthetic that we just don't usually connect with here. And I just find that just overwhelming. It's amazing. So.
Yeah. Look, I'd love to go to India, but you probably get sick. But look, I've watched videos of it recently. It's just an amazing country, and it's got so much incredible diversity, incredible population. It's and it's sort of a democracy. It's just weird.
Yeah, sure.
It could be, it probably would, because it's got that complete diversity and total chaos, that it'll just probably keep going.
I'd say it will.
Anything else.
Yeah.
There's no way you can control a country like that with so many people and so many races and castes and all that. They're all doing their separate, like herding cats. You can't do it, and it'll probably stay like independent and maybe keep away from all this authoritarian crap that's going on everywhere else.
Yes, it's an interesting thought. Just ethnically so diverse, and so many different ethnic tribes and groups, and deep history. I'd love to go to India. I think it'd be the most interesting country. You can spend a long time there.
And the amount of humanity there is just incredible. Like it's just at one point, it's 1 billion people or something or more.
That's right.
It's just incredible, and they're all busy doing stuff, and they don't just all bow to the same party and do the same thing like a certain other country. They're all got their different ideas, diversity, which is what you want.
Yeah, I think
diversity is strength anywhere.
It certainly is. It would be a fascinating place to visit, and you'd have such a window into just the buzz and and I think there's a certain undercurrent or sort of connection with the heritage that just keeps things. You don't sort of get a sense of the larger civil unrest issues that plague other places and revolutions and things. I mean, they've had terrible difficulties, and the Brits probably didn't do a lot of good, but. It is a fascinating country, and they embrace their deeper history and their music very very strongly, and a lot of it's well documented and well resourced, and I don't think it's sort of lost to time like some of the cultures. The music's hard to trace.
They've got a deep classical tradition in their music.
Yeah, that's
very
right.
deep.
Definitely, and I love the sound of Indian music. It's just beguiling. It's just it's incredible. So,
there should be more of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But in the early days, because it was new, people must have recorded everything because it was new and do it. And I think there's probably more records per population then than there are now. Surely,
it's quite possible. Yes, relatively speaking, it may well be the case.
They certainly make more films than any other country.
Well, I mean, they've just got this film industry as big
Bollywood.
Bollywood's as big as Hollywood. I mean,
supposed to be more films than even in the US.
Yeah, I think Bollywood's the third largest film industry. I think the largest film industry doesn't need to be mentioned. The second largest, I think, is Hollywood, and then the third is Bollywood, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got 3 times the population of the US. That's not surprising, is it?
Yeah,
that's right.
Now, we had that Indian singer that you recommended, Frank.
Lata Mangeshkar.
Yeah, that's right, Lata Mangeshkar. That was just a revelation. I loved her voice. Amazing stuff.
Her sister sounds just as good.
Yeah, and her. I mean, she made something like She made thousands of records.
Thousands. So there's a big argument about how many, but it's at least 10,000, I reckon.
That's right, between 10 and 20,000 records. It's some astonishing number of recordings.
She must have got up in the morning, made 8 records a day, then went to bed.
Yes, I'd say so.
Pretty much.
I think that's pretty much it. And her sister, it's a dynasty. And that's the other thing. You do have these dynasties and these sort of extraordinary sort of flowering cultural dimensions. And the music's so connected to to the storytelling and to their ancient culture. It seems it's not a lot of their indigenous music has that sort of sense of authenticity about it. To the layperson, anyhow. Incredible stuff. So yes, definitely on the bucket list, a trip to India. But we probably will go there on the gramophone before I get to go to the country itself.
Well, look, nowadays you can go there on the gramophone and on 4K. I've been watching Indian videos of just videos. People are taking videos from the bus trips through those terrible roads that now we wouldn't allow. Would they be banned here?
Yeah.
Going 100 miles an hour on the wrong side of the road, overtaking on blind curves. It's just incredible, and it's just there's people everywhere, and they just miss everybody. It's just and then incredible up these terrible mountain roads in the Himalayas with 10,000 foot cliff on one side and rocks falling down the other, and it's like here would be an extreme 4-wheel drive track there, extreme 4-wheel drive track with the traffic of Punt Road.
That's right.
It's just incredible.
Heavy traffic going. I've seen these films, and it's unbelievable. And they just sort of hug the side of the mountain, and it's just constant traffic. It's unrelenting. It's like the trains. You don't get a seat on the train. You sit on top of the train.
That's right. And just make sure you don't touch the high tension line.
Yeah, that's right. Just
and
duck.
Occasionally people do. They zap and fall off. No one cares.
Yeah, that's right. They just sort of fall
Train
off.
just keeps going.
Yes, indeed, it does. Yeah, just duck when it goes through a tunnel.
That's right. They lose half their passengers.
Yes, that's right.
And it's just like they don't seem to care too much about safety. I mean, obviously there's no road rules at all. And like even the freeways, people are driving along, and then all of a sudden there's a whole stretch of just complete 2-foot deep potholes.
Yeah.
Like here, it just wouldn't.
No, it couldn't
acceptable.
happen. No, it certainly wouldn't. But I think it's just the way of things, just an extreme population.
It's exciting. Look, I've gone on those sort of trips in Thailand and places, which is pretty scary, but it makes, compared to India, it's just like it's nothing, absolutely nothing.
The other thing is that what I've experienced, not much, but I've always found them to be very respectable people as well. And there's as a traveller anyhow, whenever I've come across Indian people, they've always been very gracious as well.
Yes, they always speak very well, very good English.
That's right. So anyhow.
One even does my idents.
I've heard your ident specialist there, definitely.
All the way from the Punjab.
Yes, that's right. Special feature there. Yeah, no, that's excellent. All right, well, I'll persevere now. Frank, you don't know your movements at the stage. Are you heading off soon, are you?
Yeah, I'll be pretty soon. I've got to go and eat and get dressed and stuff.
Okay, all right. Oh, you might be interested in this next record.
I'll stick around for a while.
Okay, there's a disc, a pile of records I picked up at Inverloch. Yes, it was, and a number of 10-inch records, spotlights and unusual sort of 1950s Australian connection. And one's a Cetra record. Now, these were brought out, I think they're sort of like an international label, and I think it's Italian music. But the record wasn't playable yesterday, and I gave it a clean this afternoon. It's come up okay. These all had no covers. They're 10-inch vinyl, and they're really bad condition, but they seem to come up well with the right stylus and the noise reduction system. So this is a dude called Fred Buscaglione, and so I think it's pressed locally. Maybe by Spotlight for Cetra. I'm not sure exactly how it all fits together, but it's probably a part of the ethnic influx in the 1950s.
Yeah, which was very big.
Yeah, and especially the sort of music, but it's good fun and it's sort of characterful. So I reckon we'll persevere. We'll have a listen.
Excellent.
Have a listen to this. What do you think? So I've got it queued up on the SP10. That's a track called Le Refifi. I think is the name of the track. So see what you think. vk3sl.
vk3jr.
lo dico, sono un dritto. A me nessuno fa dispetto. Lo sanno tutti che così perché mi garba il refifì. La mia bambina lascia stare. Se ti interessa di campare. Se non t'agguanto proprio qui ti faccio un colpo al rififì. Lei si intromette e vuol parlare. Le dico, fila bella, lasciami fare. Poi se rincaso nella notte non sorride, sono botte sul momento, lì per lì me l'ha seduto al rififì. Ma gira al largo per piacere, se ti interessa non sapere cos'è il rififì. Non è un problema, ti dirò, nessuna scuola l'imparò. Cos'è il rififì? Per me funziona a perfezione, ci vuol coraggio e decisione per il rififì. Non fare il furbo, non scherzare, se no ti vado a dimostrare cos'è il rififì. Per me funziona a perfezione, ci vuol coraggio e decisione per il rififì. Non fare il furbo, non scherzare, se no ti vado a dimostrare cos'è il rififì. E cos'è il rififì?
There we go, Mr. Bascagliani. Bascagliani is the guy's name. It's a good record. There's a few excellent tracks on this one. And, yeah, quite enjoying the Cetra records.
Yeah, they're good chords. Now, last night when you played one without when he went to no noise reduction.
Oh, yes.
It sounds so much better here.
Without the noise reduction.
It's so much, look, it's the clearness and with the noise reduction, the thumps that are there, the clicks that are there are real thumpy when you listen on a big speaker.
Okay, interesting.
To me, listening on the AM3 through the speakers here, the noise reduction was just all muddy.
How interesting.
And I think if you're listening on AM, even on a wideband receiver, it does filter out all the super highs. So you know, the effect of the noise reduction is less, on the noise, but it's still the artifacts are more pronounced.
That's really good.
When they go through the compression and everything.
Yeah, look, I can appreciate that. Yeah. Yes, the compression probably does amplify them and make the thumps. I did a little. I was aware that there's an artifact that's been creeping in. I think it's like a saturation. And I changed the threshold, the input threshold to 48 kilohertz sampling rather than 96. So thinking that might make a difference because I think the computer was sort of under a bit of strain with that. So that was a thought there. But look, it might be worthwhile, particularly records in fairly good condition, just letting them pass through and forgetting about that, and then maybe just saving the noise reduction. I'll give you an example. This record we're hearing now, I can play it both ways. So, this is really scratched up vinyl, so I'd be interested to see what you think. So this is with the noise reduction now. Okay, and that's without now. And I'll go back to the no noise reduction with the noise reduction. So you sort of get a dull muffling, That's with noise reduction, and now without. And I'll swap back again. This is with the NR. And this is without. Great record. So, I don't know, what's the verdict in that instance with scratchy LPs? I wonder.
I certainly hear the... Good evening, vk3sl.
Oh, yes. Hi there, Frank. How are you?
Good. Certainly hear the difference.
Okay.
The noise is all but gone, but I agree there's a slight drop in the high end.
Yes.
But I don't think it's objectionable. You know, it's still quite good, and it's amazing how well it cleans it up.
Yeah, I think in recordings, in the instance where the record's really scratched up, like this one, it's possibly not a bad thing. But I was playing some 78s last night, which were Australian laminated pressings, and they just sound silky smooth. They sound fantastic, and there's a light bit of air and scratch, but you get much more some sort of presence factor, I suppose, on those records, particularly records in very good condition. So it's an interesting one. So trying to weigh up when to use it and when not to use it. But yes, it does give like a dull thump. But as I said, I've tried to change the input on the Click Repair. It's this is a software put out by a maths professor in South Australia. He's since passed away, and he put in out a test, just a version of the program in beta for people to try out. And because I had purchased the main program, he let me try this one out, this playthrough, and he abandoned it quite quickly. He didn't sort of pursue it. But I've just got that single copy, which I've got on this computer here, and that's what I use, and it certainly satisfies the need.
Yeah, well, we should make sure you back it up. And
well, I think I
do a pretty good job.
I think it's on the Wayback Machine anyhow. It's there somewhere.
Just grab a USB stick if nothing else.
Yeah.
On that.
Yes, it's worth doing, because it is. It's certainly not. None of his programs are in the domain anymore, but they are very useful adjunct, and they're as good as it gets really for domestic noise processing. It's fairly non-interventionist as things go. Some of them are really heavy-handed, as we know, and they create all sorts of nasty artifacts. But it's an interesting subject, and I appreciate that feedback, because I might sort of persevere more without using it as often in some instances, because I really noticed it last night. The record I played last night is this one, but it just sounds so clean, sounds so good. This is a recording of Thomas Beecham in the 30s, and have a listen to this. I'll just play a bit of it. And so this is Barefoot now. Okay, what I'll do, here it is with some...
It sounds good.
It sounds very good. Here's some noise reduction. I just upped the trebs a bit. Now it's interesting, it's not thumping as much since I've changed the input from 96 back down to 48, but it's still an interesting one. Here, I'll keep this going and then I'll switch it back to the Barefoot. Go. We finished with the raw file there.
I think that one's so clean that you probably don't need it.
Yeah, it's more presence.
Yeah, but it's not objectionable. I mean, you certainly notice that slight drop in the highs, but it's, I think, as you say, you're weighing it up against what the surface quality's like, aren't you?
That's it.
If it's quite damaged and it's worth doing, and if it's only light or it's as good and clean as those, then no need to.
That's it. I think it's a question of just making those choices depending on the quality of the record. And I mean, some of the stuff here is in shocking condition, and the noise reduction at least makes it halfway presentable. And but I do have to compensate by putting in some extra highs, so that's a part of the formula. But we're lucky here in Australia because the pressing plant for EMI in Sydney, Columbia and HMV, they used a sort of a very fine laminate substrate on their records, which they didn't do in Britain. A lot of British recordings sound quite noisy compared to the Australian counterparts. So a lot of collectors seek out Australian recordings simply because they are so comparatively noise-free. And a lot of American records too, on the main labels, are comparatively very noisy. So it's an interesting one that Australia...
Because the grooves are deeper.
It's just to do with the fine, the shellac particles, just the sheen that they put. They're laminated records, so they've got like a substrate of quite a coarse material.
It's like a protective layer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And perhaps it's that the drag or the friction is a little bit lower because of that, so you don't tend to get as much wear or something.
Yeah.
Good day, Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Sure. So, look, it's an interesting one. So they have a wafer, like a paper wafer, and then on the top of that they have this very, very fine surface, this laminated surface.
Okay.
And it's almost like a celluloid byproduct. It's incredible, and it's very on a record in good condition. They sound fantastic. 78. So Australian records are very sought after by international collectors, and for that simple reason that that they sound quieter. So it's an interesting one. But the reality here is that 90% of the records are in pretty poor condition here. But not a lot. A lot of the classical stuff's in excellent condition, actually, to be honest. But the dance band stuff, I mean, I was just, I refused to pay more than $1 a record. So that was my rationale.
Luck, isn't it?
It is. So sometimes you win them. But look, it does reveal a lot. There's another one I played yesterday. That recording of Albert Sandler. God, it was good. And if I can find it here.
Yeah, look, it's been called away, so...
yeah, sure. No worries.
Briefly, I think the difference in the crackles is minimal.
Yep.
So, anyway, we'll do some more tests later on. I'll
yes,
see you around.
Indeed. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate your input there. That's it's really good. You've got to consider all these things. And, I think in the scheme of things, it's probably best to shy away from too much heavy-handed processing. It does free up the computer for other things as well. But, it just, as I said, it just depends on the quals. Here's another laminated record in good condition. I'll play a bit of it. This is one of my fave pieces. It's the, the Overture to Ruslan and Ludmilla by Glinka.
Now, it's good.
Oh, it's a great piece of music.
It's a party piece.
It certainly is a party piece, a really symphonic virtuoso piece. It's really hard to play. Any string player comes out, approaches this with a sweat, knowing that it's a major achievement just to get through it. And I think you'll hear why. But I'll play this one barefoot without any processing, and we'll enjoy its full frequency response. There we go. That was Glinka's Ruslan and Ludmilla overture there from the 1930s on an Australian laminated press. A little bit of crackle on that one. But,
that's interesting because I'm familiar with that piece, although I didn't know what it was. It's the title theme for an American sitcom called Mum.
Oh, really?
It's produced by Chuck Lorre, who is the guy that produced, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's another spin-off series that he produced, and that's the title music.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, there you go.
I've got to go and eat.
Connections. Okay, Frank, well, we may not see you until tomorrow.
I might be back just...
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, okay, no worries. If we don't catch up, we'll maybe see you tomorrow.
You are definitely tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right. Look, it's interesting. So, I don't know, could you perceive the crackle on that one? I know we're sort of listening with different systems here, and they all got their...
I think it depends on the passage too.
Yeah.
You know, where you get a passage with a bit more air in it, certainly. But when it was quite busy and full, you hardly perceive it.
You can hardly perceive it, yeah. Oh, here it is with the noise reduction, just the last little bit. There we go. In fact, it sounded very little difference here. A lot of that crackle was going through the gate as it was, but I know we're comparing apples to oranges with 160 and UHF, but it's just an interesting one. And I always prefer no noise reduction at all. In fact, I always listen to my 78s without anything because I just like my ears do the filtering. I don't even hear the scratches, and I like the presence. I like being able to hear. And you always lose something. There's always a slight dulling effect when you do use it. But I do appreciate that on air. It's probably easier on the modulator and
and also in the narrower bandwidth. I mean, that's the other thing when you're listening to full bandwidth. Yeah. The limited bandwidth of the crackling is probably, I guess, less objectionable.
Yes, that's right, exactly. So now these are all interesting considerations. So anyhow, look, it's a topic that I like to keep open because I want to find that happy medium between. And do I need to use it?
I kind of wonder if it's modern, and I'm sure there are, but again, it's the cost of the tools. But given processing power these days, I imagine there must be some modern algorithmic-based stuff that's probably very effective. I'm sure it all comes at a cost.
It does, and look, there are some major innovations. The most impressive to my ears are the intelligent EQ, where you get an equalization signature from the same piece played in a contemporary. It's sort of a time-aligned sound signature of all of the EQ patterns, and then you assimilate it to a historic recording, and because the EQ changes depending on what the orchestration. I mean, you can never get it exactly right, but they can use an EQ signature and revitalize an old recording, and it's beyond exceptional what they can achieve. I mean, they can really open something up that really.
I guess the other big advance too would be with, say, using multi-pass techniques. Where you can bring the thing in, sample it, look at what's there, and then after performance of an analysis, you can then apply, appropriate filtering and resampling or reworking of certain sections, and
yes,
you could probably totally clean it.
You probably could. It always comes at a cost, though, of dulling transients. I've never heard any system that really allows percussion transients, string edge, rosin grind, the breath, the consonants.
I think though that you could achieve that with some real smarts and that concept of, though, not trying to do it live, but it would be you run it through, or essentially record it via the system, and then let the system analyse it, and then let the system go back and tweak and then you would end up with a recording that is,
Yeah.
very clean, where you could retain transients. I agree, doing it live is probably impossible, or
Yes.
nigh impossible. But I think with using a multi-pass type technique where you
they can.
pre-sample.
Yeah, they can achieve wondrous things. They can. Interesting, a lot of them actually reintroduce some noise afterwards because our ears sort of expect it, expect some ambience, expect some sort of...
noise.
Yeah, it is. I spoke to Bill Armstrong about this. He's done a lot of remastering using the multi-million-dollar Cedar systems and things, and he's saying that all the feedback has been that reintroducing noise after they've done all their multiple passes is aesthetically more enabling for some listeners. So I thought that was an interesting comment. It's not it's just constant noise, just like hiss or something, just to give a perception, psychoacoustic perception.
I'd be interested to see too, because I guess we're getting into that whole psychoacoustic effects there, and I'm wondering how that would relate if you took a sample group of listeners and basically judged their responses looking at what their environmental factors are in their everyday life.
Yeah.
So if you had people that live in a noisy urban environment all the time, and therefore they're used to a high noise floor, or people that live out in a very quiet rural area, it'd be interesting to see if their responses to that treatment are the same or...
Yeah, look, it's an interesting point, and psychoacoustics is something. It has so many levels of complexity depending on all your subjective values and the time of the day, how many glasses of wine you've had, how many what your expectation of the medium is. I mean, there are so many variables, and our ears are so fallible, so I sort of give up at a point and just sort of say, oh well, I like it this way today, I like it this way tomorrow, and I've got a few options. Therefore,
our brain's pretty good at filling in the gaps.
It certainly is. Double-blind testing usually reveals things that people are not necessarily that happy with at the end of the day in a lot of fields. I know it is with instruments. We've talked about that before. But, it's an intriguing subject, and I'll always sort of try and... I think for me, the most important thing is if it can be opened up a little bit. I mean, older recordings tend to congeal simply because they use one microphone and a very sort of... you just got the limitations of one acoustic transponder for a large group of musicians. You're just not going to get detail. But if something can be done to sort of open up the sound a little bit, that can have subjective virtues. But I listen for that more than anything else. But it's an interesting topic. Yeah, all right, we'll find another disc, I suppose. Got the world transcription records here, and here's one called 3 Bows and a Peep. I don't know who these dudes are. It's these are 16-inch vinyl, but this one looks okay. It's a track called Wonderful, and who wrote It's Wonderful? I think it's Cole Porter or someone, I think. Maybe it's Josh Gershwin, I don't know. But we'll play it, we'll have a listen. And now here begs the question, do I use the... maybe I won't. I'll play it without I'll just go through the open channel here, and we'll forget about our noise reduction and see how it sounds. So here we go, off the cuff, 16-inch vinyl from 1950 Mumble. I think we are ready.
Wonderful, it's marvelous, you should care for me. Soulful nights, paradise, it's what I love to see. You've made my life so glamorous. You can't blame me for feeling amorous. Oh, it's wonderful, it's marvelous that you should care for me. should really care for me.
There we have Three Bows and a Peep, name of the group there, with some nice guitar work, electric guitar work from the early 1950s. And on vk3sl test missions on 160 and on UHF. And we also stream, so there is another go-to place. Online, live streaming. Now I'll play the last bit of that with the other system in play, just for the sake of comparison. You never know, people may have a particular thought on this, so here we go. Let's hear it with noise reduction. Go. That is with noise reduction in that instance. So we're sort of profiling this backwards and forwards, getting different perspectives, and it's interesting since I'm now sampling at the lower frequency. I think it's sort of ameliorated some of the thumps and bumps which came from a bit of latency with the computer. I suppose a super fast computer may assist with that, or
always helps.
Yeah, or I've got an external sound card, but it's not a particularly good one. I mean, I could take extra measure and use the 96 kilohertz sampling, but I think 48 seems to do it, and it's possibly better overall, and we won't get as much thumping. So anyhow, that was I do prefer, my preference is without any at all, but I do understand that some people, I do get feedback about in noise reduction as well. So it's finding a happy medium. I quite enjoyed that group. Very 50s, Three Bows and a Peep.
It's sort of very kind of Andrew Sister-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's that post-war sort of, cool. I won't say pop. It's sort of moving more towards pop, I suppose.
I guess it was of the day, though.
Yeah, well,
it's true. It was the mainstream, dancehall radio play.
Yeah, it is. It's that genre, and there's a few here from that group. I have no idea who they are. Well, what's the next one? I'll just have a look, and I won't be playing everyone twice. Don't worry. Here we go. It's a fast novelty samba with vocal. That sounds all right. It's track B. They're all locked grooves, so you can cue them up. This one's called Enjoy Yourself. It's Later Than You Think. That's a great title for a song, and we'll certainly see what happens in the groove. VK3SL.
Listen, here's what we've got to say to you. Hey, listen to a little sound advice about a thing you ought to do. You work and work for years and years, you're always on the go. You never take a minute off, too busy making dough. Someday you say you'll have your fun when you're a millionaire. Imagine all the fun you'll have in your old rocking chair. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself.
Hey, before I came to this here town, I lived in them there hills. I made an honest living making brand new dollar bills. The revenuers came one day and said, boys, put down that gun. Let's open up a jug of corn and really have some fun. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in a pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. I said enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself.
Now another days here and gone, you've turned another page, and suddenly you realize that you've reached middle age. Just think of all the fun you've missed, it makes you kind of sad. It's better to have had your wish than to have wished you had.
Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. Remember, when you leave this world, you won't be coming back. Relax, take it easy, you'll have a heart attack.
Go ahead, kiss the boys, they'll love it.
Don't be afraid to drink. Enjoy yourself, 'cause brother, it's much later. Much, 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 much later than you think.
Ah, the midlife crisis in full flight. I can relate to those lyrics. They resonate. Yeah, Three Bows and a Peep. What a great song. And yeah, these are great. I mean, I'll have to check in and find out who these people are. Yeah, I suppose you could say they're second tier artists, but they present beautifully. And as I've said before, these are all 16-inch vinyls, and they were recorded by 2GB and processed by AWA in the early 1950s. This is stacks of them. They're mostly overseas issue, but they are good missions fodder. Here's another one, Ed McCurdy and his Rhythm Pals. Who was Ed McCurdy? We need a brains trust. Need people to look up and send the information. I'm too lazy. I have a feeling this might be country music. It could be. We'll have to listen and find out. Ed McCurdy. All right, we'll go with track F, The Gay Spanish Maid. Well, I have to listen and find out all about her. vk3sl.
Was a gay Spanish maid at the age of 16. To the valley she roamed far and wide. Beneath a beech tree she sat down for a rest, with her gay gallant youth by her side. My ship sails tomorrow, my darling, he cried. Together we ramble no more. So tonight when your parents retire for to rest, will you meet me tonight, love, on shore? That night when her parents retired to rest, lovely Annie stepped out the hall door. With her hat in her hand she ran down to the sand, and she sat on a rock by the shore. The moon had just risen from over the deep, where the sea and the sky seemed to meet. Not came from the deep, but a murmuring wave, and it broke on the sand at her feet. That night it arose to a terrible storm, and the good ship went down in the storm. He swam to a plank that escaped from the wreck, while the rest met a watery grave. He returned to his love he had left on the shore. How she thought of her boy in the storm. She died like a rose that is called by the frost, and she left him in sorrow to mourn.
Well, I pulled my finger out and I did my due diligence, and I can tell you that Edward Potts McCurdy was an American folk singer, songwriter and television actor. There we go. And he was renowned for singing that big hit. I remember singing this at school in the sing book, the song called Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream. It was a big hit. I think the Weavers covered it as well. Anyhow, he had a long career and died in 2000. So, folk singer from that era, from the era of the Weavers. We've played lots of Weavers, and it's good to hear Mr. McCurdy. All right, well, I can wrestle this one off and see what else there is in the pile. We can just riff through and discover as we go. It's the name of the game. These are Program World Service transcription records. Pop music. Let's lean over and find some more. Hundreds of them. Here is Xavier Cougar and his orchestra, disc 342. And on the other side is Curly Calderon and his Circle C Boys. Whoa! Oh, what should we play first? Maybe we'll hear the Curly Coldicron, but I have a feeling this will be country as well. I can manage. I'm trying to sort of find my way and be a more lateral listener. Here we go. Keep a little sunshine in your smile and Freight Train Blues. What do you reckon? Keep a little sunshine? We can do that. Track A. It's easy to find. We'll put this
Can't beat the sunshine.
We can't beat the sunshine. This is Curly Calderton and his Circle C Boys from 1950 Mumble.
When everything looks dreary and you don't know what to do, keep a little sunshine in your smile. And if your heart is aching and you're lonesome, sad and blue, keep a little sunshine in your smile. Just keep a little sunshine in your smile every day. Just keep a little sunshine, it will help along the way. Don't frown when it's cloudy, but smile when it rains. Just keep a little sunshine in your smile every day. About your troubles and be glad to make a friend. Keep a little sunshine in your smile. Be honest with your neighbor and you're sure to always win. Keep a little sunshine in your smile. Just keep a little sunshine in your smile every day. Keep a little sunshine, it will help along the way. Don't frown when it's cloudy, but smile when it rains. Just keep a little sunshine in your smile every day.
Oh, how innocent. Curly Coldicron and his Circle C Boys.
Like a bit of a lap steel.
Yes, indeed it did. That's true. Lap steel. And very much of its time. Let's see. What else? Freight Train Blues. Oh, here we go. On the last two tracks include the Fontaine Sisters. Okay. I Get the Blues When It Rains. That could be good. With instrumental accompaniment. I didn't realise that they actually had two artists represented on the same side. So there's quite a few tracks on these, but they're not microgrooves. They're standard groove discs. So effectively, a 16-inch record would hold the same amount of material as a microgroove would, a 12-inch microgroove. That's the way of things. So here we go. Track F, the Fontaine Sisters. I always enjoy sampling these. They always seem like I probably played them all before, but it always seems like it's fresh and new. In the groove, let's listen.
I get the blues when it rains. The blues I can't lose when it rains. Each little drop that falls on my window pane always reminds me of the tears I've shed in vain. I sit and wait for the sun to shine down on me once again. It rained when I found you. It rained when I lost you. That's why
That certainly is very much in the Andrews Sisters vein. It's the Fontaine Sisters, though. It's another female trio, which wasn't on my radar, but they're probably just as good. Beautiful synergy there. And we're just sampling these records, hearing what comes about, and we flip the disc.
Something about that harmony, isn't it, when you get multiple singers singing those lines like that? It's just, it truly is greater than the sum of the parts.
Oh, it certainly is, Frank. I agree. Yeah, look, it really rings when they sing well in tune. There's a real glow about them, and they, I've always been particular about.
I've got to go. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, sure. All right. Have a great evening, Frank.
Yeah, will do.
Enjoy the jazz.
I'll tell you all about it tomorrow night.
Please do. We look forward to an update. We'll hear about it.
Take care, Frank. All the best.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
Okay, thank you. Have a great evening. We'll
Thank
catch
you,
up
you
soon.
too. Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah, cheers, Frank, and I must head downstairs for some dinner stuff as well. So
okay, that's
kind
fine.
of be listening, but
yeah, no worries.
dinnery things.
That's all fine. Yeah, I'll play another one or two, and then I might find an LP to play something. And so I'm going out this evening, and here we go. Side B is Xavier Cougat and his orchestra. I like this band because they had a massive percussion section. Reminds me very much of the that Ry Cooder film. What was it? The
Texas.
No, not Texas. The one with South in Cuba. The
Buena Vista.
Buena Vista Social Club. Yes. So it's all sort of South American music with lots of layers and textures and just exotic rhythms.
In that ilk, Rodrigo and Gabriella are just re-releasing I think it's a 10th anniversary issue of their Area 52,
right,
which is their Latin, the orchestrated one. I don't know if you've listened to that, where they've
I have.
together with the big Latin ensemble.
Area
They're
52.
releasing that on vinyl, 10th anniversary one.
Oh, fabulous! That's great. As from recently,
as
is it?
in like announced today or a couple
marvelous.
of days ago kind of thing.
Oh, very good. Oh, they're a great ensemble. Oh, that could be a good ride out. I'll see if I can find the list, if I can access it easily.
The album's called Area 52.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And it's Rodrigo, Gabriela and Cuba, because that was the name of the ensemble, CUBA.
Sure. Excellent. Oh, look, that'll be really good. We can hear them. Oh, that'll be a nice way to wind up, I think. All right, well, let's have a listen to some... we've got a choice here. We've got medium instrumental rumba with choral effects. Next track is Minsan Lamang with medium tango and Spanish vocal by Del Campo. The other one's a guacha with vocal by Del Campo and chorus. And the last one is medium rumba with vocal by Carmen Castillo and choral effects. I love it. Cool. Shall we have the one with choral effects? I think it could be good. We'll go with track D, I think. Duema Time Was is the name of the track. A, B, C, D. It's the last one on the disc. I'll just reach forward. Not terribly ergonomic, the setting here. We can just manage. I think we're right to go. vk3sl. was the music of Xavier Cugat and his orchestra of a transcription record there, and we're testing here, of course. That's what we do, testing the water. Trying out which fader. I'm getting used to using the barefoot faders rather than the processing fader, and it does sound better, I think. Yeah. But Xavier Cugat, well, I might play one more track and then we'll probably have to defer. We'll hear some Gabriela and some Rodrigo Gabriela, of course, and Area 52. I think we'll wind with that because I've been able to dial up the album, which apparently has been released on vinyl. That is most excellent, but we can play the full album as a finishing item, I think. But before doing that, I'm going to play another one of these. I'm sort of in the mood to play turntables, and we can hear, here we go, Xavier Cugat. Let's hear another one with choral effects. Medium instrumental rumba. Miseru, track A. We'll play this one first and then we'll defer. Here we go. We're right, we're set, and off into the abyss. Oh, those exotic flavours, they do it for me. I'm sorry, folks, I'm going to have to give this a nudge and play another one. Let's hear. Here we go. Locked groove, now active.
laging kong pag-ibig ay minsang lamang, ngunit sa iyong akala ay hindi tunay. Hindi ko lilimutin magpakailan pa man habang ako'y naririto at may buhay. Malasing mo pagtitis ang kalokohan, ang buhay ko unti-unti na pumapanaw. Yari mo ba sinta ako'y mamamatay kung di ikaw ang kapiling habang
Xavier Cugat. It's so exotic and alluring. Okay, I know it's a locked groove. Yes, it is. But I'm going to just do a jump. I'm going to hurdle the groove. There we go. We lift out the pickup, left-handed here, into the next one because we have to keep on going. Oh, sorry, that was the same one. There we go. In the groove. vk3sl. Testing.
No te asombre cuando ve, oye colega, no te asombre cuando ve al alacrán tumbando la caña, al alacrán tumbando la caña. Costumbre de mi país, mi hermano, costumbre de mi país, mi hermano. Oye colega, no te asombre cuando ve, oye colega, no te asombre cuando ve al alacrán tumbando la caña, al alacrán tumbando la caña. Costumbre de mi país, mi hermano, costumbre de mi país, mi hermano.
Sí, sí, tumbando caña, sí, sí, tumbando caña.
Pero tumbando caña, mira, tumbando caña, me voy a ir tumbando, tumbando, ay, tumbando caña, nene.
Sí, sí, tumbando caña, sí, sí, tumbando caña.
No, 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 mira, tumbando caña, me voy a ver, pero tumbando caña.
I'm in the zone, folks. I can't help myself. I'm going to have to jump another groove, another locked groove, and we'll hear one more from Xavier Cugat and his orchestra, recordings made in the 1950s.
canción que para ti forjé. Duerme, duerme tranquila mi dulce bien, que contemplándote con pasión la noche pasaré. Yo bien quisiera que nada apartarnos pudiera jamás, porque mi amor y mi vida y mi todo eres tú, cariñito ideal. Duerme, duerme mientras yo te arrullaré con el hechizo de esta oración que para ti
was it Xavier Cougar who used to dance used to conduct in a white tuxedo with a chihuahua under his arm? I think it may have been. I've just got that image in my mind, listening to those recordings from Cuba in the 1950s, early 50s, of world program transcription recordings, and there's dozens of Xavier Cougar, so plenty more for future missions. But I've just realised that Cetra record, that Italian Cetra disc on the SB10, actually has a mambo, an Asta mambo, with Mr. Buscaglione. So I think we should play this before we defer to our Area 52 special. Excuse me. And so all I have to do is push this and this. vk3sl. Fred Buscaglione and his Asta Mambo on a Cetra 10-inch record from the 50s. In fact, it's got an Australia. It was pressed in Australia. I've got some details now. I've been able to establish the facts. Distributed by Minstrel Records and registered in Italy and pressed in Australia. So that's quite a find. I'm pleased to have that now in the collection because there's more where that came from. All right, I think this is lined up ready to go. The music of Rodrigo y Gabriela. And this is the entire album of Area 52. We'll play this now for the next little while I go and sort out a few things inside. We'll be listening. Thank you for your contributions, gentlemen. And thank you to listeners abound. And we look forward to your company tomorrow, all being well. vk3sl. I've been testing here on 160 and on UHF, also streaming online. And I think we are on board.
is a test transmission of vk3sl. vk3sl. is a test transmission, vk3sl. is a test transmission from vk3sl.
Listening to the music of Rodrigo y Gabriela, a acoustic guitar trio, and from Mexico. They've just released this album on vinyl. The name of the album is Area 52. I'm vk3sl, been testing here on 160 metres and also on UHF, streaming online as well under my call sign YouTube channel. We look forward to your company tomorrow.